New York's Mayor Bill de Blasio promised just moments ago on New Day to keep New York City a sanctuary city, but President-elect Donald Trump has promised stiff financial consequences for cities that do that. So can mayors realistically defy this order? I want to bring in our CNN political commentators. Ben Ferguson is a conservative commentator and host of The Ben Ferguson Show, and Christine Quinn is former New York City Council Speaker. She was supportive of Hillary Clinton during the presidential campaign. Let me just put up a map of these cities that have pledged to remain sanctuary cities, which essentially means they are not going to go after illegal or undocumented immigrants just because they are undocumented immigrants in the city. You can see right now some of these cities, and a lot of them are in states that voted for Hillary Clinton. So Christine Quinn, you spent a lot of time in city government. What's the effect of all this? Cities essentially saying, President, or what will be President Trump, we're just not going to do what you tell us to do.
Well, first I want to make clear that this move of cities saying to the federal government, and let's be clear on the dynamic here, it's cities saying our employees, a city or a state, won't do the federal government's job. We're not going to, when people come to an emergency room, ask for their citizenship status. We are not going to turn people over to INS. We as cities have every right, and this has been held up in numerous federal courts, and I've written legislation myself that dictates how our employees in New York will act, and it's been held up. We're allowed to do this. It's not like we're disregarding the federal government. They can do their job, but we don't have to do it for them. And I also want to clear up misinformation that's been put out there during the election and the transition. No city is saying a criminal should stay. And when we did something around this when I was Speaker, we dictated in tremendous detail in the legislation what crimes would not be part of this, who had to go, terrorist watch list, gang lists, violent felonies, and we picked out misdemeanors that we thought were of the violent nature. So this isn't, hello, come on in, criminals, and move on in and screw up America. It's not that. But if Donald Trump comes in...
Talk to the victims. Let's hold on. Let me jump in here.
Let me finish.
Talk to those. You've been talking for a long time. You've been talking for a long time.
Not really that long. It's morning television. It couldn't possibly be that long. Let me finish and say this is an effort to help keep families together. What Mr. Trump is proposing to do will literally, and I've seen it before, and let's be clear, President Obama made this mistake, rip families apart.
All right, Ben Ferguson, your turn.
There you go.
First of all, you've got an issue here with those that are victims of people that commit crimes, and what she's describing here is basically unrealistic. You cannot have a sanctuary city and also enforce the law at the same time. You're choosing to defy and say to the federal government, we are not going to enforce the laws. For her to say that they don't ask people about their status and somehow that's compassionate, it's not compassionate to those that are victims of crimes, of people that are in those sanctuary cities that have warrants out for their arrest when they don't do the basic background check when they catch somebody, or to see if they have warrants out when they catch somebody. The bigger issue here is this. We have federal laws that say that you are not supposed to be in this country illegally, and if you come here illegally, then you are working and taking jobs away from American citizens. So these mayors that say, oh, I'm going to not do these things, I'm not going to turn over someone when we find out that they're here illegally, they deserve to get their federal funds taken away from their city. If they want to pay for this, if these mayors want to actually have a city where they lose federal funding, then that's their choice and that's their decision. But when there are victims of individuals who are here illegally, who commit heinous crimes, and to not check them or turn them over to ICE, to the federal government, and defy federal laws, you don't get to do that as a mayor if you're a good mayor. If you're a rogue mayor, then do it. But most American citizens do not like rogue mayors.
But the thing is, I want to just turn this conversation a little bit if I can.
But John, he's misstated
go ahead.
We do. So I want to be clear. In New York City, if somebody gets rushed into an emergency room and they're bleeding, I do think it's wrong to not fix them. That's to help them.
That's not what I'm talking about. I agree with you.
Two.
I agree with you.
I let you go on and on and on. Two, we are not talking about violent criminals. When we
How do you know if you don't check them?
Hello, what we're talking.
How do you know?
Can you be quiet? We're going to have to do this for 4 years. So calm yourself down and get a little manners. Two, right, exactly. Two, when people get arrested in New York in our legislation, at Rikers, of course we check their records. They're in the prison system. Of course we do. And then, if they're a violent felon, on the terrorist watch list, gang list, a whole long list of crimes, we turn them over to ICE. But if the only reason they're there is, say, they jumped a turnstile and they're undocumented, we're not going to. So Mr. Ferguson may not fully understand all of the dynamics, and I think this is a complicated issue that is getting boiled down into rhetoric and will hurt people.
Ben, when you're not dealing with violent criminals, so you're just dealing with the fact that they are undocumented immigrants, is that enough, do you think, for the federal government to withhold federal funds to these cities?
The law says, yes, that it is. And you can't just pick and choose which crimes you are going to enforce or which laws are broken you're going to enforce. You have to have either enforcement of the law or you have a lawless society with rogue mayors. If you talk to law enforcement,
Ben, hang on. I want to get, hang on, because now it's my turn.
Okay, good.
I just want to get one last question in, because this is one I think I'm keenly interested in, Ben. Ben, do you think that Donald Trump, or how far do you think Donald Trump's mandate is right now on this issue and on any issue? The popular vote right now, Hillary Clinton is leading by 1 million votes. That number could go up as high as 2 million. So how far should Donald Trump push in general, Ben?
Well, look, when you win the presidency, in my opinion, you have a mandate. You won. You can argue, losers always argue over the popular vote and saying, well, he didn't get as many votes as we did. The fact is, he's the president. Therefore, he has a mandate. He has Congress and he has a Senate that are also with the Republican Party. So simply put, Donald Trump has a mandate here, and the American people decide they want him to be president. I don't really care about what losers say about, oh, we got more votes in this place or that place. He has a clear mandate.
All right, Christine, has to be a really quick response.
John is, I'm sorry, Mr. Ferguson, he's right, is wrong about the funding issue. There's clear court cases that say you cannot take away federal money not related to what is going on. No, there are solid court cases. You could do it on drunk driving and streets. There is not money relevant to this. There's numerous court cases. Mr. Ferguson is wrong.
Let's hit the books. Let's go to the library. Let's check this out. We will continue this discussion very soon. Christine,
thank you.
Ben